Tesla started off well this morning and was ahead of everybody and doing better than the indexes. And then it looks like some profit taking came in, still in the green, but not quite as well as it was about 10 minutes ago. We'll see in a little while. We'll take a deeper look and see where Tesla is as the market progresses this morning. Tesla insurance registrations in China total 18,500, up 1% from the 18,300 in the prior week. That was according to data reported in the China Evening Post. The numbers represent the 8th full week since Tesla revamped Model 3 in the market in China, and currently, though the numbers don't show how many of that is Model 3 and how much is Model Y. Those numbers you would anticipate would create a good market move this morning, and in fact, there's only good Tesla news out there this morning in any regard that is honest. We'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, the article goes on to say that Tesla aims to deliver 1.8 million vehicles in 2023. We know that, with China the bright spot in quarter four. So far in quarter four, Tesla China insurance registrations, which is a rough gauge for the same point for deliveries, up about 17% compared to the same numbers in quarter three. It's actually, they don't report on this, it's about 36% above the same quarter last year. The number of China registrations through quarter four is also 10% higher than the same point in quarter two, when Tesla delivered a record 156,000 vehicles. And Tesla is currently 6,000 registrations short of the quarter two number. So will be a record for Tesla in quarter four in China. This is Randy Kirk. If you hadn't hit the like button yet, this is a very good time to do it, because you know it helps the algorithm. Is that how you pronounce it, or should it more flow together? Algorithm. Anyway, we've got hit the subscribe button, hit notify, because of course we have Brian White later today, and then in the evening on Good News Tuesday, it will be Nicholas Gibbs with his second shot in the co-anchor location for Tuesday nights. And then at the end of the show today, I'm going to give you a partly personal story about what happened to us in Vegas with regard to our Model Y. I think you'll find it quite amusing and interesting and useful even, but I'm going to put that way at the end after we talk about where the stock market is and everything else. So if you want to hang around, stick around for that when you can. Most of you probably stay up with Tesla enough. If you're watching this channel, you certainly do, to know that these headlines that are going out there right now are just such nonsense. But I want to quickly just demythologize a couple of them, okay? The main ones that are still hitting every single day. First of all, the Hyperloop, and this is not a Tesla, but it's an Elon Musk. The Hyperloop project that has been shut down is not an Elon Musk failure. If you know the story, he conceived of the Hyperloop. What was that, like 10 years ago, 10 years ago? He came up with the idea for the Hyperloop. He laid out he put together like a white paper on it with all the concepts that he had in mind. And then he said, look, I don't have time to do this. I don't see that I'm going to have time to do this for months or years. So if somebody else wants to do it, go for it. And he put together a couple of contests, and it was a lot of fun, and everybody was having a good time with it. But then he said, that was it. He hasn't been involved. Now, he's done a couple of recent things, again, setting up, I think, a contest, maybe down in Austin. I don't know when that one is supposed to go off. But in terms of actually getting into the business of manufacturing a Hyperloop, or having a group of his scientists and his engineers working on a Hyperloop, not at all. No, none of the companies are working on a Hyperloop. So every single headline that's talking about this Hyperloop 2 that shut down, that went bankrupt, that is no longer going to be in business of trying to get a Hyperloop going, is unrelated to Elon Musk in any single way, even though every single headline has Elon Musk as the first two words in the headline. Anyway, number two, this is about Twitter. The employees at Twitter who were supposed to get bonuses under the old ownership didn't get those bonuses when Elon Musk took over. Apparently, Elon Musk decided he didn't have any legal responsibility to do that. The current status of the lawsuit is not what the headlines are saying. The headlines are suggesting that Elon has been found guilty and he's going to have to pay these bonuses. No, that is not the case. All the judge said was the trial can go forward. That's it. That's all. In no way has there been any finding that X.com has any obligation to those folks to pay those bonuses. Now, it may turn out that they do, but if you read the headlines or even the articles, that's not what you're going to see. You're going to believe that this judge has made a decision that these folks are owed the money. Anyway, no trial, nothing yet, okay? Then there's this other thing about Teslas are the worst drivers. There's some kind of a study. Well, this statement is apparently completely nonsense, and we will have Brian White on later. That's one of the subjects that we'll be talking about today, is that ridiculous assertion that somehow you could determine, based on the methods that they used, that Tesla drivers are terrible drivers compared to other groups. Did that headline even kind of go, what are they even talking about? How could they possibly know? All right, Yahoo is reporting this morning, in another move to electrify rideshare fleets, Tesla has teamed up with Uber directly to offer discounts of up to $3,000 on its cars to drivers. Tesla has been added as a partner to Uber's vehicle marketplace, where drivers can purchase new or used electric vehicles. The company, Tesla, will offer discounts ranging from $1,000 to $3,000 on Model 3 and Y vehicles, and the amount depends on the driver's rating. So, yeah, pretty cool. Apparently, this is something that only goes to the end of the year. At least that's what it looks like. It wasn't 100% clear. I'll look at it a little more if this looks like it's going to be an ongoing program. If it's only going to last for another week, I think I'll leave it at that. Call me shocked. Okay, I missed this one. Home prices rose 4.8% nationally in October. That's on a year-over-year basis. Compared to October of 2022. That's according to S&P's CoreLogic Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which I find very responsible and good numbers. Now, that's a jump of 4% annual increase into September, marks the strongest annual gain seen in 2023 in the winter, which is not usual. Now, that's October, so it's possible that you're still seeing some of that end of the year thing going on. If these were November numbers, I'd be even more shocked. I don't think you're going to see these kind of numbers in November, but we'll see. Housing prices are holding up, obviously very strong in the face of, at the time, 8% interest rates. Whew. Anyway, all right. And on other inflation news, Truflation is unchanged from yesterday at it's up a 0.01 at 2.56. Yesterday was 2.55. As noted yesterday, if you didn't listen last night, this is the shocking part about these numbers coming down from 3.05 to 2.56 in basically 2 weeks is that it's all happening in the grocery store items, the foods, the drinks, tobacco, alcohol, personal items, clothing. That's where all the deflation is taking place right now. And this is what Costco and Walmart had talked about as being deflationary stuff coming. And so interesting to see dropping this much this fast. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks. All right, let's take a look at the current readings this morning. We go back to Tesla. Tesla has now recovered. It had been dropping down. It is now doing a little this as it's the momentum looks to be up $1.35 right now. We've got the Dow Jones up 32. We've got the NASDAQ up 50 and the S&P up $9.27. We have got the Magnificent Seven continuing to be up, except for Apple and NVIDIA very strong this morning. It is the strongest of the Mag 7, and Apple slightly down. Did I say that already? Okay, let's look at the percentages. The Dow Jones 0.09 up, NASDAQ 0.34 up. That's kind of a normal situation with the NASDAQ up much more than the Dow. S&P up 0.20 and Tesla up 0.54 as we look at the rest of those. The Cathie Woods this morning are all up, but headed down from their high. So they like Tesla, they started up here and then came down. We'll see how that goes later in the morning. Okay, now let's go in and see if the bonds are affecting any of that this morning, because the bonds are still, leading a lot. So the 10-year is down back into the under the 3.9 again, down almost a full basis point this morning. So that should be encouraging Tesla and the Cathie Woods, which are all up. Okay, don't get me wrong. They are all up this morning, just not as much as they were. Started up here and then came down. The 7-year is also down, but the rest of the whole list are all up, including but not by much. Well, the 2-year is up 3 basis points. I don't know. I'm still having a hard time figuring that part out. Okay, if I ever figure it out, I'll let you know. There's got to be a reason, but nobody's reporting the reason. I'm telling you, I'm specifically looking for this. Is anybody talking about the inversion anymore? Nobody's talking about the inversion anymore. Nobody's giving us any hints or thoughts as to when this inversion might re-invert or why it's staying inverted so long. There is nothing on this. If you see an article on this, I would love it if you would pass it on to me. Okay, we have got bonds. We just did bonds. Oil is up $1.83. That's showing some new strength. I'm guessing Red Sea and Middle East issues. There's a lot of stuff going, a lot of turmoil going on over there. The Brent is following almost exactly, so continues to be up 5.5 more. Is currently selling for $5.5 per barrel, more than the Texas Intermediate, which is abnormal. Again, showing this problem in the Middle East as impacting. We have gold basically flat at 2,068. We have the dollar basically flat this morning. We have crypto down, Bitcoin down $767 at 42.6, pretty much in the range. And then, as mentioned, we talked about what was happening with the stocks. Okay, as we like to do, let's take another look at Tesla before we talk about my funny story, my wild and crazy story over the weekend. Tesla continuing almost up to 1% up this morning. Okay, let's first of all hit like again. Or if you didn't do it already, and then hit subscribe. Because why haven't you already done that? Let me talk to you 1 minute about Patreon. There's information down below. All you do is click that link. I need some more people to get on Patreon right now. $5 a month, $10 a month. If you can afford it, don't do it if you can't. But if you can't afford it, and if you're getting $5 a month worth of value or $10 a month worth of value, this is kind of a tip jar. I know everybody's getting down on tips, but this is content that costs me a lot to make. I do get substantial income from the advertising. So, don't think I'm sitting here getting poor, but it helps if folks like you are able to contribute some for me to, like, for instance, I'd like to get behind some more paywalls. If I get behind some more paywalls, that would be helpful to you and to me and to the channel. So anyway, if you can help out, do it. If you can't, it's okay. But subscribing and notifying and all that really helps. All right. And then listen, the Cybertruck thing, I've got a new deal. Got a new deal for you. I'm going back almost to the $20 no matter what, but it's going to be $25 still for one. It's going to be $20 for 2 and up. Doesn't matter how many you buy, $20. Okay. So that's a new deal. That's a good deal, right? And on Patreon, I'm going to give you the one Cybertruck and one book. You get one of each. If you join at the $10 level, not the $5, at the $10 level, you get one book and you get the Cybertruck. Those are at a $10 level, okay? All that information is down below. I haven't changed it yet, so don't pay attention. I'll try to change it in a few minutes, but if you get there too quickly, it may still show different numbers, but one is 25, 2 or more is $20. That's going to be for this week only. And then also, if you're out of the country, it's $20 for Europe and North America. But if you're in Australia, it needs to be $30. It costs a fortune. You get these things over to Australia. Okay, I'll try to remember to get all of that down in the information below. Now, how about the story? Are you ready for the story? So we stay at the Trump Tower. We great place, lovely place. If you're in Las Vegas, good place to stay. Anyway, we're leaving. We're ready to get on the freeway. We're like, okay, let's stop for some coffee. And so I drink Diet Coke. Anyway, we get off and we stop at a drive-through, and we go through. As we go through the drive-through, can you believe it? Yeah, what a horrible driver. How can you drive a Tesla and hit a curb? Anyway, I hit the curb a little bit, and we're like, ah. So we get through the drive-through, we pull the car over just to see if it hurt the rim or anything. And what? Nothing about the curb or the rim or any of that stuff. No, what we've got here is we've got a big gash on the fender above the wheel. I mean, a big, like this long, white paint transfer. And we're like, what is this? And I'm like, this must have happened back at the Trump Tower when they were parking my car, in valet. So we're driving back, and I'm thinking to myself, how are we ever going to prove that? I mean, how are we going to prove whether it happened at the valet or whether it happened before the day before when we were driving around, or if it happened, we know it didn't happen since, but we parked at other places. It could have been anywhere. And I'm like, that's going through my mind as we're driving back. Anyway, we get back. They get a security guard who's in charge of that kind of stuff. And he comes down. He says, look, we got cameras everywhere. He says, so there's a camera when you came in, there's a camera when you went out, all that'll be camera. If it happened on our watch, we're going to know it. Anyway, so he turns those folks loose and says, start looking through your cameras, see if you can find out if this Tesla was damaged by the driver. So anyway, we're sitting, and all of a sudden I go, wait a minute, we got Sentry. And the security guard goes, yeah, that's right. You should have video. So we start punching it up. We haven't really played with it much. My wife has played with it. It's her car. She's played with it some, but we really haven't looked at it that much. So we're starting to go Sentry, but we can't find that footage. We find footage from the day before, and when we got to the hotel, and then it shows where the driver starts driving it up the ramp and into the parking structure, and then all of a sudden it cuts out. And then we're looking for the next one. It's got it by dates and by times. We can't find the next time. And then we see us driving away. We see that, but there's this, and we don't know what we're doing. So we're moving around and looking and trying to find it. And we're like, why can't we find that other piece? And the security guard, same thing. He says, well, hey, go all the way. He's giving us we're all trying to figure out how to use the thing. Anyway, then the report comes into him. Oh yeah, it shows that their driver, because inside the hotel parking, everything that could cause damage to a car is painted yellow. So then they would know, it would be yellow paint transfer, not white paint transfer. And sure enough, their cameras pick up their driver smacking another car, and there it is right there. And so then we realize, oh my gosh, their driver has the key, the card key, and he could interfere with our Sentry stuff and erase it, take it out. So later on, we figured out, my wife went and she's checking things out after we got home. She says, you can do this thing where you use an attendant mode, or, you can valet mode, you can use valet mode, and they can't tamper with that thing. So now we know that, we learned that. So anyway, I'm passing it along to you guys. You, first of all, use valet mode. Number two, that Sentry thing is really fantastic, really, but that guy's going to lose his job. Yeah, and he should. I'm glad he's going to lose his job, because not only did he smack the car and not report it, he tried to cover his tracks. I guess he didn't know that the Trump Tower had all these cameras all throughout. Anyway, that's my story. Let's take one more look at Tesla before we say adieu. And it's now up, getting closer and closer to that 1%. It is ahead of all the rest of the Magnificent Seven, except for NVIDIA, which is up 1.27%. All right. It has been great talking to you this morning.